Hi guys, welcome to this video. So this setting is actually the same setting I usually use for Abansu May, my other channel. But today I'm using it for this channel, which feels weird because I like to differentiate different vibes and moods. But here we are, and that's because today's my last day in Brazil. So when you're watching this, I will be back in Denmark for a little while. So it's my last day over a 1 and 6 months period. I said that now is a good time to like have a review of Brazil after 1.5 years. Like, what have I really loved, what have I been getting used to, and what have I not loved so much. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today. I made a list. Okay, let's start. Because my flight, I have to get ready to leave to the airport in like I think 2.5 hours. So let's talk about pros first. I'm gonna maybe mix it up, but maybe I'll start with the pros. So fruits and vegetables are amazing here. Like if you're vegan and you like to eat whole plant-based foods, you are going to love it here. It's cheap, it's delicious, and it's fresh. So you can get that almost every corner or supermarket, but also the markets are pretty good. So food, fresh fruits and vegetables is an awesome. Another thing I really like here is like how people are very family focused, and also how people are very flexible. They're able to be very understanding. So you need to be flexible to survive here. Which is very interesting for someone like me who has grown up in a place like Denmark where things can be very organized, and then you go somewhere here where things are very relaxed. But it's something that's also pretty cool to see that people are very relaxed and flexible. People are very open. I really like the people here. I think that can be summarized that. I really like the people here. I think they're very open, very friendly, and very easy to get to know. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. Is that you can fix anything in Brazil. You can fix anything. It doesn't matter if you are missing a screw on a specific chair that you bought in a specific year. Somebody will have that screw somewhere, or somebody will know a cousin who knows a friend who has that screw. So I really love that. In Denmark, like when I had my phone and the screen has cracked, and I had it like that for a long time, also because it's expensive to get it fixed in Denmark. But here, like, you could find somebody who could do it, and it's cheap and it's good. So I think that's pretty cool that you can fix almost anything you have here. Your shoes, your earrings, whatever. You have a lot of places with more wild nature. So that's also pretty cool to experience. But just in general, like the nature here is very diverse, and you can experience so many things if you're a nature lover. So that's definitely a bonus for someone like me. They also have a lot of yearly vacations. So if you enjoy weekend vacations here and there, like that's totally doable here. So I really love that, because that also shows that obviously again the quality of life. Oh, did I mention the helpfulness? I think that people are very helpful here. Regardless of what you might need help with, there's always, like I said, with the fixing things, like there's always somebody that can help you with things. So I really like that. If you have natural hair, there is a lot of products here to try out, Brazilian products. I've seen a lot of national products, like products made in Brazil, which I really like. I always prefer to support the businesses made in that country, because I feel like it gives back to the the people who live here, instead of buying stuff that doesn't naturally come from here. But that can also be a downfall, because people prefer, or the government makes it so that most things have to be produced in Brazil. It means that if you want to buy anything abroad, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. Okay, there's a lot of beautiful people here. I think if you like humans, you find somebody you like here. There's a lot of beautiful people, from the darkest of dark to the palest of pales. But actually it depends in which region. Where I live, there's a lot of black people, and I think they're so beautiful. Like, it's so amazing to be immersed in so much diversity, especially in black diversity. So I think that's pretty cool. I really enjoy that aspect of Brazil. Okay, the cons are a lot of great Brazilian dishes are full of meat. Like feijoada, what else? I think even acarajé is made, the original one is made with shrimp. There's a lot of things that if you want to taste Brazilian cuisine, it does come with meat, animal products. So if you're vegan, that might be a problem. You do have vegan options as well. Social life here can be very overwhelming if you're a bit of an introvert. And that took me a long time to get used to, and be like, okay, I can't go to every party or every birthday. It's okay if I just go to once a month or every other month, because I couldn't keep up socially. And I'm happy that I didn't try too hard, because eventually I found out that it was tiring, also adapting to a new country, new language, new way of doing things. But at the same time also adapting to the level of social life here. It can be a bit much and hectic, so that can be a con. Unless you're very social, then you'll be in heaven. Okay, all of these are very, very subjective, so take them with a grain of salt. Gender roles. Yes, I remember once we were cooking food and my aunt-in-law was leaving, and then she asked me, hey, because all the women were leaving except me, and they're like, May, remember to heat up something food later when people get hungry. And then I was looking around, I'm like, okay, there's my brother-in-law who's also an adult, there is my father-in-law who's also an adult, and then there is my partner who's also an adult, and I'm also an adult. I'm like, I didn't understand. Like, it took me back to understand that the only reason she didn't tell them was because I was a woman. And also some of them could cook, so I was pretty like, whoa. And then we talked about that later on, and I said that's very different for me because I feel like if you're an adult you should know how to cook, and unless you're a kid. If there was kids I wouldn't mind. If there's somebody who was not capable of cooking for themselves, I do not mind. But if you're able-bodied, you can say, everybody figure out what you're gonna eat, okay? But to tell somebody because of their gender that, hey, make sure people eat, like, that was like, sometimes I do make food and I like to help. Like, with my brother-in-law, I was at some point we were trying to teach him some simple dishes, so I don't mind that. Like, if somebody wants to learn, or if you're making a dish for someone particularly. But the idea that some people can't cook for themselves because of their gender, that kind of is a bit of a lot for me, I guess, at this point of my life. Safety, I think that's also something I might have taken for granted, especially if you live in a safer country. You don't realize how much mental space you save when you don't constantly have to be worrying about stuff. Like, in Denmark, I go around with my tote bag often, and if anybody doesn't know, a tote bag is like something that, it's a bag without any closing, like, and then you put everything in there, sometimes even your laptop, everything, and then you just walk around the city. You don't have that fear that somebody might rob me or somebody might see what I have, and you know. But here, like, there's a constant feeling of you gotta be careful, you gotta be aware, because things are not like that here. And I think especially if you come from a different country where you haven't had that space in your mind and you have to make space for it, that can be a con. But I think you also adapt. I will say that I don't particularly feel unsafe here, because even when I do take public transport or I go out to the city, I know I have to be more cautious. Just like if you were traveling somewhere in Europe and it was a busy city and people would be like, be aware of pickpockets. Like, that's the kind of the mind I have, like, just be aware, because you don't know the situation, or somebody might want to take advantage of it. But that also, of course, goes into the holistic perspective of it being a country with lots of disparities and social inequality. So I guess that also makes sense, but it's something that you have to be aware of, which can be a bit of a con. Yeah, actually very traditional, like going back to the gender roles, very traditional and conservative. So if you're alternative, if you have alternative viewpoints, it can be hard unless you're in like a university environment, which I'm not, because I'm done with that phase of life. But like outside of that, people can be very conservative and very traditional, which makes, like, if you have alternative ideas or just different ideas, I don't think people are rude in the sense like, whoa, da da da, but you can see that people don't think like that here as much. But that's a con if you need other people to agree with your lifestyle for it to be valid. It's just something that I have learned that, okay, that teaches you how to believe in what you do and see it as valuable without needing everybody else to also see it that way. So the lack of good thrifting stores or anything where you can buy secondhand things, I think that is a bit of a big one. In Denmark, once I decided that I wasn't going to support fast fashion, I then decided that, okay, I'm gonna look into other ways of spending money where I can get good quality but better prices, and that for me came in the guise of thrifting. And not only thrifting clothes, but then later on also I looked into thrifting electronics, anything, or even like share economy, anything where you can reduce the amount of things that are produced in the world, but at the same time you also get good quality things. So I like that, and there's not a lot of them here, maybe particularly where I live, maybe in bigger cities like Salvador, and I live a bit too far from Salvador for that to count for me. Maybe like Salvador or Rio or Sao Paulo, they have that, but particularly where I live, they don't have that, and that's something I really miss, being able to thrift or more share economy. And here, when you do go somewhere where there's clothes to be thrifted, they're often in very, very poor condition. Even if it's cheaper and it's recycled, I feel like, okay, I still need something that I would find value in buying, and then also maybe be able to give on or put back into the whole thrifting community, if that makes sense. And speaking of environment, the use of plastics here. plastic bags, plastic bottles, and I'm also guilty of this, plastic straws. I've made a commitment that next year before I come back I'm gonna buy some reusable aluminum or bamboo straws to bring with me, because they're always great for the beach when you're drinking coconut water. But before I started, every now and then when I remember, to bring my own cup as much as I can to the stores and not get a straw and then just put my coconut water in the cup. Beyond that, people are always so eager to give you plastic, more and more plastic for things, which you also need for the trash system, because you need to throw things out, and that's how we get rid of trash, by putting them in plastic and then somebody comes and get them. So I can get why people need to use it, but it's a lot of plastic. And also during elections, the whole place is kind of like flooded with flyers, lots of small pieces of flyers, and there's just a lot of flyers being given out, like even on the street. There's a lot of paper and plastic everywhere. It's a lot, but at the same time I think you understand in the context here. But it does worry me, because I know that environmentally it's very bad. Environmentally it's very disastrous that we do produce and use so much plastic, and it is everywhere and in everything. I think a lot of countries use plastic, but it's just the amount that is used here. To end off, I would say bureaucracy, because that's also the reason I have to go back to Copenhagen for a while, because the bureaucracy here can be a pain in the ass. I think bureaucracy anyway is a pain in the ass, but particularly I was like here, oh my goodness, there's a lot of things that I wish could be done an easier way, but they can't always be done in an easier way, so that can be a bit annoying, and you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to be very flexible, and you have to think of new ways to combat problems, because things are not always going to be solved the way you want them to, or the place you want them to be solved. You can talk to somebody on the phone, like when we're doing our papers, you can talk to somebody on the phone and be like, are you sure this is it? The person at the agency, this is what I have, are you sure this is the right information and the right everything? And the person's like, yes, it's the right thing. So you go there, you show up, you make an appointment, and then you stand in line for whatever hours, and then you find out you don't have the things needed. So that can be very frustrating, because it's the same person now telling you, oh actually we need this and that, and then you're like, but I talked to you on the phone. We were lucky enough to find out, okay, it's actually easier if we go back to Denmark and then do it from there instead of trying to do it here. So cross our fingers that that works out, because I'm leaving today, and we will see. By the time you see this, I will be in Denmark. Maybe I'll have delivered my papers there, because we have a few weeks before Tina comes, and we have to do the papers, and then we're gonna get married, and then we're gonna put the papers in and hope that by the time I have to leave that my papers will be processed for the better. But either way, if not, I'll just stay for a longer vacation, because now I've learned to be so flexible and so willing to adapt because of this great country. So I've learned a lot being here, and I'd say overall I've had a great time. I've had a great year and a half, not without challenges, let me emphasize that, not without challenges, not without being homesick, but actually I have not for once ever regretted coming here. And I think actually that goes for a lot of my choices. I seldom regret things, because I always learn from them, and as long as you learn, it's okay wherever you go. You become better, you know better, you do better. So all in all, that's what I wanted to share with you, and yeah, I hope you appreciate this video. And if you're new here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the content here, and I'll see you obviously in my next video. Take care, bye.